Sandberg once said, in the future, there'll be no female leaders, there'll be just leaders. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerdy Optometrist, a podcast channel for all things optometry. And this is your host, Ukti Vora. Before we dive into this episode, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel on every platform that you prefer to be on. And make sure you leave a review if you enjoyed this or any of our episodes. When I talk about leadership and leaders, today I have an amazing personality who is ready to join the nerdy family because she's a leader in a completely new verse. I think you've got it right. We're talking about the metaverse, but that's not where it started. Let me give you a quick introduction of who she is, what she does, and then we'll deep dive into everything that she's doing in this new universe that she has created for all of us in this industry. Charlene Nichols, founder of My Vision Show and SellSMART, Not Hard, a leading innovator in sales and marketing enablement, has been active in optical and optometry industry for more than 24 years. As a student of the industry, she has held many roles, including select territory manager, strategic account consultant, and has mentored and trained dozens of sales professionals across in the industry. Her out-of-the-box approach to traditional business solutions is responsible for innovative platforms such as Optical Near Me, Frames Library, and the famous Optical Metaverse. Thank you so much, Charlene, for your time and a warm welcome to the Nerdy family.
Thank you so much, Yukti. It's so great to be back here. As I was telling you off screen, it's like a full circle moment for me. So I get a little choked up because it's like, I feel like we just did this almost a year ago. And it's just, looking back in retrospect, sometimes it's just so interesting, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So for everybody to give you a heads up on what we're talking about, Charlene was so kind enough to reach out to me a year ago on LinkedIn, which is a platform I truly, truly endorse. There's no paid partnership. I just like it here. All right. So Charlene was kind enough to reach out to me, talk about her idea of the optical metaverse. And since then, we have been in touch, and here she is sharing something that she has done so amazing in the industry. But before we get into that amazing hot topic, I want us to step back and tell me a little bit about your entire journey, where it started, how it started.
I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to do that, Ukti, because sometimes you climb the skyscraper so far that you realize, gosh, when you look down, you're so focused on the top that you forget how far you've come. And I've been learning to do that a lot more lately, to just embrace gratitude. And, I call it free falling into the time that you're in. This might sound a little crazy, but, my journey began, I would say, really in the early 2000s as an innovator. And I didn't even know I was innovating. I just had challenges in my role as a single rep. I had to manage a territory that just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And, they don't give you assistance as a sales rep, but they do give you increased, objectives. And I'm not somebody who likes to fail. So I decided if I wasn't going to be able to, clone myself, that I was going to develop new technologies, and that was sales automation, and that was developing, strategic ordering portals. And that just kind of led me to a deeper understanding, because now I was in a position to solve major problems for major organizations. These are national chains and alliances that many of us look up to. And I got to really see some of their vulnerabilities. And I saw some really common denominators that were such big gaps that it made me feel like somebody had to do something. And I didn't see enough, resources being placed at the local level. So I decided I was going to take my enterprise level skill set that I had now developed and really apply it to help and empower local businesses. And it was a leap of faith. It was the best decision I ever made in my life. And I feel like I really did achieve that goal of developing the dream toolbox for eye care professionals so they can step into this new 21st century era that we find ourselves in.
That is wonderful. And I honestly have to say I have been really privileged to able to talk to people, who have seen these gaps and not just like sit back and say, oh, this is what it is, let me live with it. But they went above and beyond to kind of go ahead and start something as a solution. It probably started as a solution for yourself, as you rightly said, right? You didn't have resources, you can't clone yourself, so let me come up with a more effective solution, which is now becoming something which is helping many others. So, tell us a little more about your motivation behind your company and the organization that you built, finding these gaps.
Well, I say this with the most humility that I can. Um, I decided in the beginning I was going to be very selfless because I already knew how big these problems were. And I knew if at any moment it seemed even the least little bit like I was doing this for some sort of selfish intention, like God forbid, making money, making profit as a business, that I would not get the buy-in I needed. So one of the first things I did was I actually created a free directory, Optical Near Me. And I, couldn't really find a lot of people that would build something really good that would allow me to do this free, gift that I wanted to give. So I had to teach myself WordPress. Because I was going to build a good directory. And it was one of the best decisions I made because it really helped me to learn and understand building a directory isn't super easy at all, but it teaches you like hierarchy and like where do things go and like learning about like how to position people to succeed in their local markets. And I started really getting people to trust me early on because free directory listings is not a very big ask. And it allowed me to kind of do things like run free audits on their business and get them to talk to me about their challenges. And some of them were just, to me, didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, you're a business with 500 reviews, you're doing an amazing job, you've got an incredible team, you're really grinding, yet you're not even showing up on page 1 of Google for optometry services in your area. And I don't really say that is their fault, right? Like, is it really your job as an optometrist or an optician when you've got or even an office manager of a store, when you've got all of these other responsibilities to sit down and study the tangled web of literally of Google and Facebook and all of these algorithms that at that very moment in time were already starting to show signs of changing? This is right at the tail end of keyword stuffing, where people realized, oh, I can't just put the word optometry, 1,000 times on my website and get found. Now I've got to write creatively. Like, this is at the very beginning of content marketing. And I saw it coming. I really saw it coming. It was a logical thing. I said, okay, this game is going to get more complicated. And already they're not even playing the game. They've decided, I know there's a game. It's kind of like we all have those games in our den, right? Like, we know there's some pieces and some directions. Maybe we've opened it and we've tried to play, but we're like, too complicated. I'll put it away. Yeah. But I knew that we were going to have to become masters of the game, and we're here. We are here. I was right. I was 100% right. So I said, let me start now, because we got plenty of time. Nobody's adopting this stuff. Even large companies weren't doing this. Let me try to build something that really raises the bar at the local level, so that this way, when what's happening today occurs, and again, this is looking back, that I can at least have toolboxes where I could prepare people. And if they don't want to, take advantage of it now, I'll have such a sustainable ecosystem that they could just plug in and they can catch up. And I've achieved that. But that was the goal. I just knew it. I knew it in my bones that these tools were going to be needed, even though they were so ahead of their time. And I was not wrong.
I have to really say this, like, since the time I've known you, right? Like, one thing I really love about you, apart from many other things, passion is one thing that many people might have a passion, but what you share is conviction. Like, I'm sure there would be 100 people or maybe more who are constantly questioning you and be like, this is not happening, you're crazy, why are you doing this? But your conviction towards
all
your
the time,
thought, it's like, irrespective of right or wrong, I am doing this, and that takes guts. I have to say this out loud. And I'm so proud.
usually I have learned to accept these things. I used to be like, it wasn't over humble. I was really difficult. Like, I had to struggle with my confidence. That those guts that you're talking about were stronger than my insecurities. I have a lot of them. And to be ferocious and kind of fearful was a very weird juxtaposition I found myself in. And it was only recently building the optical metaverse that made me believe, dude, stop questioning yourself. Like, really
Right.
seriously, don't really worry what people say about you, because no matter who you are, there are amazing people in history that have just done things that are irrefutable, and still they get
Other question.
criticized. But criticism is not something that we can really allow ourselves to be fearful of. It's difficult, it's hard, it's just really, really, really challenging, especially when you're trying to push people way outside of their comfort zone. It's really easy to become the scapegoat when you're the pioneer. If you look at some of the great innovators, look at Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Look at Elon Musk. I mean, people really, really, really are hard on these innovators, but when you really think about it, we may disagree or agree with things that they've done, but they've really helped to raise the bar so that all of us can have a new standard. And
Absolutely.
it's funny, one of the first things I said was, in the beginning, before all this technology, there was a gold standard in our industry that everybody had become like, that was like the gold standard. That was a word we all use. So I said, I'm going to develop the platinum standard. We're going to raise the bar. That was
I
one of
like
the
that.
early.
And I have to say, like, even though you're talking about insecurities and stuff, which I truly appreciate, and that's what Nerdy Optometrist podcast is all about. We talk about reality and real stories. You talk about insecurities, but I'm sure anybody who has met you will feel that you're just ready. Like, you don't question anything, or that that you have thought about, even though there will be, it's obvious that industry might be questioning that you're trying to push the boundaries here, but you believe in yourself and you do it so fluidly, it's so organic,
Thank you.
that you're able to kind of make others believe in your conviction and in your vision. And I think that's where all that you're being able to achieve today comes in play. But before we go into, like, the technology, the metaverse and everything, I understand you understand eye care, because you were part of that industry for more than 20 years. Technology, you were kind of introduced to it because of the challenges. But putting those two together is something which I would say even I'm scared of at times. I love eye care and technology, but anything which is new, as an industry, I know we are all a bit hesitant. We are slow learners, and you decided to kind of push yourself out there and just bring things together in eye care and technology. How did that happen?
God, that's a really good question. I think that there was just no other way. I mean, I think about my vision show. I'm not even kidding you. This is going to sound a little crazy, but I'm just going to say it because it's something I truly believe. I believe that God has a path for me that is very, very, very specific, because there are moments in this journey where there was nothing but faith. I don't talk about God enough because I try to stay away from that, because it's, some
Mhm.
people do and don't believe different things,
Yeah,
but everybody has their own thing they believe in. And for me,
right.
it's God. And I don't even give a religion to that. It's just something in my heart that I feel guides me and that I return to whenever I feel lost. And there's been almost every major pivot that I've had, I felt just completely lost. I just felt, I can remember all three of these moments: Optical Near Me, which is still kind of a journey, my vision show, and the Optical Metaverse. All three of them, I had a dark moment where I was just crying. I felt lost. I felt like this is just never going to work. And like, I just had a dream all three times. But with my vision show, it was profound. I had a dream about a virtual trade show, and I had never heard those three words. I had to Google them to make sure that I wasn't like imagining that this was a thing. And it was because there were so few results for virtual trade show that I decided, okay, well, this needs to be a thing, because we're here in 2018. And how could that not be a thing? So I guess the answer to your question, Ukti, is intuitively, I've just always believed that there were so many opportunities that had been missed because of the limitations of the physical world that we lived in, that became even more limiting as we gained more access to technology, and it began to segregate us. Social media and all these things became more polarizing than it should have been, because that should have been
Yeah.
our opportunity to connect. I mean, globalization was like, forget about it. You can speak to somebody in India or in, Australia or anywhere around the world now because of WhatsApp and Zoom and all these tools that were emerging in real time. But I didn't see it bringing us together. And I thought, what if I can find all of the technologies that exist and find not the things that are working, but the things that aren't working. And I
Yeah.
can position myself as an innovator in those things, because we've had technology for a really long time, but we've also had technology that's left a lot of opportunities for confusion. That's where this slow adoption rate comes in, because we know what happens. Like, you've got the cookies following you, you've got the emails spamming you, you've got the people scraping your security and your privacy. This is why we're afraid of technology,
Yeah.
because it's kind of in a way been misused and abused by people who have learned to use it. And for those of us who are just participants, we feel a little vulnerable. And
Right.
I'm glad you asked this question. We got to this point because I've never really said this before, but it's very profound. I wanted to not just create technology, and I think that's where people get it wrong. I wanted to create technology that people can control and use for their own personal way and not have anybody take it away from them. And that's what kind of brought me to the metaverse, because essentially that's what the metaverse is. It's a technology that can be engineered in such a way that no matter how powerful the world is around you, you can, if you're smart enough and you're present enough and you're brave enough, build any world that you want, even if somebody tells you you can't freaking do it. I did. That's my answer.
I love that. So when you talk about metaverse, right? Like, let's get to that topic now that we're already discussing about it.
Yeah.
Metaverse is still, something that we all talk about it, to be honest. Like, thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, like, everybody knows and talks about like metaverse, and it's part of, I would say, many industry. But I feel there is still not enough knowledge and clarity about what metaverse is. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, there is very limited information and knowledge about optical metaverse. Can you
Mm-hmm.
kind of educate us on both these topics? Like, what is metaverse? What is optical metaverse? And how can one use it, as you rightly said, right, for their own benefit?
That's a really great question, but I just want to back up a little bit, because when it comes to buzzwords like metaverse and Web3 and NFT and all of these different things, these words, these definitions, they're happening in real time.
Yeah.
They're evolving. They're changing. People are contradicting each other. Even Chat GPT can't get it right. Okay. Like, we all have a different definition of this. So let me just first explain what I believe is the most important thing, which is visualization right now. I can't have a conversation with you and talk about the metaverse as the immersive web or as a
Right.
decentralized platform, because if I start using those words, you won't understand them.
Hmm.
Just not you personally, but like in general,
Yeah.
it's tough for people to visualize that. You say metaverse, thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, you can visualize it. Now, you might
Right.
not visualize it properly, but at least you can conceptually understand it. You can understand, okay, there's like something going on that's like some VR content that like I could do things that I can't do in the real world. That's about as far as people can get right now.
Right.
And as all people start to unlock little pieces of the metaverse or the immersive web or Web3 or whatever it is that you want to call this new frontier, because you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Just get there. Okay. We don't have to be afraid of this anymore, because this is where the world is going, any more than we
Right.
can be afraid of cell phones and mobile phones and Zoom. We can't be afraid of these technologies because they're part of our future. More importantly, they're part of our kids' future.
Hmm.
And we have got to embrace these tools as adults right now, because if not, we're not going to be able to use them in a way that shows that leadership that we're responsible for. We're all leaders. We're leaders of the people around us, the friends around us, the kids around us, and we've got to begin developing these use cases. So how can somebody use it? I'll tell you the biggest thing that I gained from the internet, and it has nothing to do with money, monetization, ROI, any of that. It is a limitless mindset. Being able to go into a world and design Manhattan. I couldn't build Manhattan. How could I? Am I a billionaire tycoon? No, I'm most assuredly not. Would I love to build Manhattan if I was a billionaire tech? Absolutely. Let me build beautiful parks that people can play in and their kids and their families. I would do it in a heartbeat if I had $1 billion. I don't have $1 billion, but in the metaverse, I don't need $1 billion. I can reimagine New York City, even though there's still lots of things going on there that keep people out, unfortunately. There's crime. There's all sorts of things. That I love New York. I go there all the time. Please go. It's okay. You find a safe place to go and you'll hang out. Vision Expos, hopefully come tons of safe places to go in New York. So I'm not saying don't go there. What I am saying is a lot of people don't go there. They don't get that exposure to the culture. Some people that come to New York and they're like, I feel like I've been there.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to New York. I've only seen it in movies and now I've been there. And it's like, I'm not the same person I was when I started this journey.
Yeah.
I'm an evolution of myself. And we will all become that in this space. Now, I could talk to you about virtual eyewear and, virtual frames and virtual fashion shows and all these fun things that we're doing. But that's my imagination. That's my vision. And I'm only doing this because I want people to be able to come up with their own ideas. I mean, you think about websites when they started, they were all basically the same. Now people do all kinds of crazy things with their websites. So think about like how much more you could express yourself if you had a limitless toolbox of creativity to do that. And it didn't matter if you were a good singer or an artist or beautiful or at whoever standard beautiful is or whatever that is. You could just literally do whatever you want. There's no more rules. There's no more restrictions. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, if you don't believe it, it's because you haven't experienced it.
Well, I think that's definitely something that I would highly recommend everybody to explore and try to understand this better because, as you rightly said, right, this is evolving every single day, every single hour. There are tons and tons of people working to see where can this go. So, as you said, right, like I can't imagine us having this conversation, and it's such an easy format to just connect, get online and do it, right? Like even I know as a kid, right, I'm sure we would have our a phone with the wired phone and those dial phones and things which did exist as we were growing up. But today, when I talk to my family back in India, they just do a video call. I know like that wasn't even something that I had seen or thought about when I was growing up. It was pushing a limit. And like now my nephews who are like 3 and 4, they would be like, why are you calling? Why is there no video? Right? For them, like video call is normal. Soon metaverse is going to be the new normal. So we should be the one adapting it. And technology, I would say the good thing that came out of COVID was everybody was forced and pushed into the use case of or using technology in some way or form. So I really feel fortunate enough that we were able to see it early on, and thanks to people like you who are innovators and are constantly pushing everyone that hey, you need to get on this. Hey, find your concept of metaverse, and I really appreciate
Exactly.
everything that you're doing right now.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging it. I appreciate that. It's that support, that collaboration. I wouldn't be here without those. The reason that you were reached out to is I hired a team to reach out to the leaders in the industry. I said, find them, all of them. Tell them all that the metaverse is coming. We need them to be a part of it. And you're one of the few that responded. There's a lot of messages we sent out, thousands and thousands and thousands of messages. But you know what? It was worth it for that
Yes,
one. That one. Most people look at numbers are like, oh, how many millions of dollars? How many millions of contacts? You know what? You were 1 in 1,000, maybe 5,000. But you know what? That's a win. Like
right,
connecting with you the way I have, getting to know you, sharing our networks, we have not had any sort of financial transactions between each other.
right.
Like we cannot always define success in relationships by monetary transactions because that's just not how humanity is supposed to work.
Right. But I do know we make it sound like nice and beautiful now that you've achieved and you've been where you are. But that journey would not be possible without any, how I like to term it as roadblocks or things that, were challenging. And you rightly said, right? Like you yourself felt you were lost. It wasn't always beautiful and rosy as it is today. So can you highlight some of your major roadblocks or some of the major things which you want to share with people? who are trying to be
Yeah,
innovators.
I'm really glad that you asked that question, because a lot of times we talk about the wins, but we don't talk about the losses. And I learn from everything, so I talk about these things ad nauseum. But the this particular industry has the most stubborn adoption rate of any human species known to man. Okay, or woman. And despite that, I love them, every single one of them anyway, even the most stubborn, even that say, oh, that's Charlene, blah blah blah, I don't care, I love you too, because I love this industry and everything that it does. It did for me in my life. I mean, as we grow into this technological world, vision is going to be more important than ever. You're about to become the most relevant occupation on the face of the earth. God bless you. So thank God you chose the right profession. We stuck it out through the hard years where nobody understood their vision. Now everyone's going to really appreciate their vision. All of a sudden, optometry is going to be number one, optical probably number two, because you can't do anything in the future without very good vision, and everyone's going to want it. So I
Yeah,
think that's a really good thing. But going back to your question about the challenges, Upti, um, having an event that you spend 90 days for sleeplessly, you don't see your family, you don't eat, you don't, I mean, I just can't even begin to tell you what that's like. And then going live and having 5 people show up, it could be crushing.
yeah,
I've cried over it. It's horrible. I've had my friend show up just to hug me virtually because I knew I needed the support. And having the vision and the belief, and I'm trying not to get choked up, because it's like, it was really hard, because
mm,
you don't know you're going to get past it. Like, you don't,
yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, well, this is going to have a happy ending. You're like, okay, great. Everyone gets to say, I told you so. Everyone gets to say, I told you this isn't going to work. Everyone is like actively trying to not see you succeed. Just want to be able to say, ah, gotcha. I told you so. Well, guess what? Not today. So thank you, Oopsie. I needed that moment. But that is the roadblock, because listen, I don't care who you are, where you are, what industry you're in. If somebody is innovating at that level, at my level, or any level, please support them. We need to support these people. If you don't want to be that person, that's fine. Be the person that supports that person.
yeah,
Because in the future, we do not have enough innovators because of the way innovators are punished. It is time to stop punishing innovators, celebrate them. We need them all. Everybody's like, are you afraid of competition? Absolutely not. I need 100 more of me, 1,000
yeah,
more. God help us all. We do. They don't exist. There's only
yeah,
one optical metaverse in 2023. What are you kidding me? No, we need hundreds of optical metaverses. Come on. I created the roadmap. Do it. And I think that's it. It's just,
support.
yeah, it's the support, and it's being able to communicate that passion without overdoing it, which is a balance that I find. It's something I've learned, because you could say, hey, you got to do this. That doesn't work. I've learned it doesn't work. And learning to be poised and patient and submissive to the moments that we're in. It is definitely, that roadblock has taught me that, because when I boiled down to it, I learned I cannot change people around me. I
Yeah,
can only change myself. I could become humbler. I could become more patient. I could become more clear, more specific. Those roadblocks have made me realize that I'm not going to make the industry adopt any faster, but I can become better so that I
yeah.
can facilitate that in any way that I can, by just one person at a time. You're one of them.
Yeah, and I think it's wonderful because sometimes, these people who are not early adopters, I would say they are best lessons for you because they are constantly pushing you to do something better, do something more innovative, just so that they will adopt. They would be like your target audience because you're like, if you're challenging this, I'm going to make it better. I'm going to make it better till you adopt it and say like, yeah, this is amazing. So I feel like, it's always a sweet and a bitter moment. You would want like many people to join your journey, but then adding that one person at a time is also a great feeling because you're like, okay, I had zero, today I have five, then I had 10. Like, you can just constantly celebrate and have more people joining your team.
Well, and I'm an interviewer, so I almost want to give you the last word, Ukti, because you are an example. A year
Yeah,
ago, you are the nerdy optometrist. I mean, clearly you understand technology. And a year, almost a year ago, not even a year ago, I said, hey, I'm going to do this. And you were like, what the heck is that? And then you came on to my show after doing your research and you gave a full, wonderful presentation on it. I would have never known that that was a new concept for you. But since then to now, because you have that long period of time, was I wrong?
No. Yeah, you really made me look into this again and again and made sure that, I stay on top of what's going on in this space of eye care and technology which you're innovating for sure.
And you too. I mean, you bring things all the time to the surface that I never even heard of. I'm like, how have I not heard of all these things? So I think it's great that even though you and I are rooted in this super niche of like hidden gems that are technological advancements that haven't seen the light of day because of our aversion to technology, I find different things than you find.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's more out there. But the good news is people are still innovating anyway, even despite these challenges, right?
Yes, that's definitely true. So we definitely did talk a lot about the roadblocks and the good and the bad, but now we're going to dive into my favorite segment, which is the rapid fire. In this game segment, the rule is simple. I'll ask you a few questions and you have to give me immediate answers without spending too much time thinking. Okay, so the first thing that
Okay.
comes to your mind, you need to say that. And
Oh
are
boy.
you ready for it? Uh,
Yeah.
all right. So let's start with something simple. Tell us your favorite destination.
Hawaii.
Oh, I love Hawaii. Okay.
I've never
Tell us.
been.
Oh, you've never. Oh, you
I've
should.
never been. It's on my dream list.
If you ever go, give me a call. I'll tell you places to
Oh
visit.
yes, definitely.
Okay. Tell me what you do during your downtime, apart from anything that's related to, eye care industry. Tell me about
Oh,
your
I
job.
can answer this. I love smut reality, Bachelorette, Bachelor. I even watch Temptation Island, all of them.
Oh God.
So bad.
Okay. Okay. So if you don't know what these series are, definitely Google them. They're fun. And they're like, I don't know, but they're just fun. Okay. Tell us one thing about you which people don't know.
I am a singer-songwriter and I came to New York to pursue my dream as a rock star.
Wow. But well, I have to say you're a rock star of our industry. So we still have a
Aw,
rock star.
yeah, I made it, right?
Yep. Tell us about your favorite cuisine.
I love Mexican.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. If you were to interview someone dead or alive, who would that be and what would be a question?
Marilyn Monroe,
Mm-hmm.
because I would ask her to tell the world how she really feels because of the way that she was robbed from her ability to really live who she really was. She was robbed from that beautiful moment. We got to enjoy the treasures of her, but
Yeah,
she never really got a chance to say how she felt. She never got that opportunity.
wonderful. If we were to write an autobiography about your journey, what would you like the title to be?
Um, I know the answer to this. After chains.
Okay, wonderful. And one thing that you like and dislike about technology.
I like that it can just push the boundaries of the human imagination because it just continues to evolve past any comprehension. I don't like that it could create, wormholes accidentally because if you don't know something, you could
Mm.
accidentally create a problem by trying to solve a problem.
Wonderful. So you did great in the rapid fire. I hope it wasn't too stressful. Good job.
I'm like, I'm going to say something so off the color.
No, no, we make sure that this rapid fire just helps us know our guest better. So I definitely know you need to go to Hawaii. Call me to know where to go and what to do. And Mexican is your favorite food. So next time when we meet, we're going to eat Mexican. So that's something that
Absolutely.
I'm
I'll see you in the
definitely
city.
wonderful. And before I let you go, I definitely would like you to share a final takeaway message for all my listeners.
Yeah, I think my final takeaway message is when I first started this whole journey, and I'm talking about the metaverse journey, which is like kind of like this last leg that I've been on. A word that I kept coming back to is visualization. And it was a word that I chose because it was like to me, it like was a bridge between this new technologically immersive world that I was stepping into and the world of vision that I was in. So it was just a natural bridge. But as I began to understand visualization more and understand that when you visualize something, you can actually believe it and you could do it. It has really helped me to understand the power of how our neurovisual system works in the first place, which is something we should all research because who you are and what you do really stems a lot from all of your senses, but really specifically your vision, what you see, you believe, and it is who you become. That's why a lot of us kind of, we watch movies and all of a sudden we start acting and dressing like these people. A lot of
Yeah.
my influences were, Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind, and the drama is real, right? And
Yeah.
there's so many things that have influenced me in my life. But in order for us to build the future, to own the future, we have to visualize the future. And for most of us, we're visualizing it based on old visualization patterns that we haven't broken because we haven't stepped outside of that comfort zone to develop new visualization patterns. And that is why the metaverse is so powerful. It lets us create all of these new visualization patterns so we can really start to expand our imagination.
Love it. So continue to visualize, and your dream could be anything. It need not be something in metaverse or technology, but whatever you feel passionate about, whatever you feel could be the future that you would want to achieve. Start visualizing it. Believe in yourself. I think that's my takeaway or learning that I've learned from you, Charlene. That just constantly believe in yourself. There might be a lot of situations where you might be questioning your ability, but believe in yourself and have conviction in whatever you're trying to do. Good, bad, ugly, that's fine. At least you have a story to share.
Yeah. And you're creating your own reality because so
Yeah.
many people, that was like kind of how this whole journey started. I felt like I was, they say imposter syndrome. That isn't a mental condition. That's like that's a condition where you're living in a reality that you really don't want. It's like it's like your soul screaming to you, no, there's like more for you.
Yeah.
And a lot of us have that, but we just don't listen to it. And listening to it is so liberating. Whether it ends up with a happy ending financially or not, because we all kind of define success by money. And still to this day, I'm not making nearly as much money as I did before that leap of faith. As an entrepreneur, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
But I am happier and richer in every other way than I ever could be. And I know that that's going to come someday too. So I think really another takeaway, Bhukti, that I can leave is reimagine currency. Like, and I'm not talking about crypto, like, community is a currency, laughter is a currency, friendship is a currency, kindness is a currency. We're exchanging these things every day. Put value in other things
Yeah.
than just tangible financial assets, and your life will be richer than you could ever possibly imagine.
Absolutely. And I think this is a wonderful, wonderful message where you're asking us to look beyond and think, imagine things which is beyond normal and be it could be metaverse. But thank you so much once again, Charlene, for your time, for sharing your insights, for more inspiring us to do something different, and for everything that you're doing for the industry. I would like to thank you on behalf of everyone. And
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. I mean, you're doing a lot too. You've created this portal, because in optometry, it's really hard to get in front of optometrists. And I love what you're doing because you're finding people that maybe busy optometrists wouldn't normally find. And because they follow you, they're finding those things out. So thank you for everything that you're doing as well. I appreciate you and I applaud you, and you keep going too. Okay.
thank you. And for everyone who is listening to this podcast, I will be dropping the links of what Charlene has done. I'll be also dropping her LinkedIn profile. So please, please, please do connect with her. If you have any more questions about Optical Metaverse, if you have questions about like my vision show and everything that she's doing, I think it's definitely worth checking it out. And do remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on your favorite platform and leave us a review if you've enjoyed this or any other episode. Till then, thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Really appreciate it. And thanks, Charlene, and welcome to the Nerdy family.
Thank you. Bye.